Hello, beautiful people of YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you've all been well. Today, I want to talk a little bit about Black Ops 6 movement, some key settings, and some gameplay tips that I think will help you win gunfights. So, let's jump in. We've got some old stuff and some new stuff. If you've been playing the last two CODs, then you know about the slide and the dive. But what's new about this game is it has omni movement, which means you can move in any way and do those movements in any way. So you can slide going back, to the side, and same with diving. You can dive behind you, you can dive to the side. Now, all of this movement is cool and epic and it feels good to use, but the question is, when do you use what movement and how do you maximize the potential in movement outplayability? So, talking about the slide in BO6, I think it's been buffed a little bit. I think the speed at which you slide at and the distance that you slide has been buffed since the last COD. So it is really useful in this game when it comes to getting into positions and evading. So getting into some slide movements, I'm going to begin with the slide cancel, which if you've been playing COD a little bit, you know this one. All you want to do is slide and then stand. So slide and jump, that's what I'm hitting. I'm hitting my slide and jump. So with the slide cancel, you can do some combinations of it. Like they have a long slide cancel, which I think is best when evading and getting to places. You want to get the full slide in and then immediately stand up when it's slowing down. So this is what a long slide cancel looks like. And then you have the small slide cancel, which is used in, I would say, getting info in gunfights. Let's say someone's peeking on that angle. What I'm going to do is do a quick slide cancel just to peek that. And I'm not going to stand still. If I see someone on that, it's going to look a little bit something like this. I know that's insanely sweaty, and if you don't like that, hey, that's cool, but I'm just giving my tips, you know? So instead of doing a slide that's beginning, let's say in this section, and I'm sliding like this and then standing, see how I'm walking into the end of that? I'm going to do a tiny slide cancel just like this. One thing I meant to touch on with the slide cancel is that you can jump into these movements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump, and while I'm still floating, I'm going to hit my slide key. So I'm going to jump into a slide. And this gives you the maximum slide distance you can actually get. So as an example, I'm going to be using this box as a little milestone, let's call it. So I'm going to go ahead and activate a slide at that box, and let's see the distance I get. I'm ending up kind of at this point, let's say. But instead, I'm going to go ahead and jump when I'm at that box and then slide while I'm still floating. And you can see the distance I get. So that's the place I get off of just sliding, and this is about the place I get off of jumping into a slide. So I think this is most useful when, like I said, juggling that peak and getting some info. You know, if someone's up on this window and you want to quickly slide instead of going like this, you can jump and you get the most speed at the beginning of the slide. So you'll be just zooming past and they won't even know what they just saw. They'll think they saw a ghost. And this is easily chained, and you can chain this as much as you want. Going into places, I just hit my head on the ceiling. Going into places and stuff. It's nice to slide past things and kind of just have a little bit of an edge on the enemy. So continuing on the slide, we have a new movement called a supine, which is essentially sliding into this position. So what you want to do is slide and then lay down. I call this the slide down. You can call it anything you want. Technically, it's called a supine, but all I'm doing is sliding and then laying down. And if you have that on the same input, I would imagine that you hit the slide and then hold it down. Now, this technique is most used sliding into angles and positions. So let's say someone is, you know, in this walkway, maybe he's hiding behind these boxes, and he's aiming my way. So instead of me slide canceling out, which the cancel puts me standing and my body is going to be exposed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide down. So I'm going to slide and lay down. And this usually catches people lacking. You'll see a lot of my body is behind this, and all I have is my head sticking out. And it's basically like a low head glitch. So I'm going to see if I can do that again and kind of nail it, give you an idea. So I'm going to say someone's on that, and this is kind of the angle I want to end up at. So I'm going to go ahead, hit a slide, lay down, and just like that, you can see a lot of my body is behind this block, and I have just enough to kind of do a bottom heady on that. So the slide down, I think, is best used in maybe catching someone lacking, maybe going into a fight and they won't expect you to be down low. It's a nice unexpected movement, and I think it's useful in some situations, but you don't want to use this in the middle of a gunfight. So let's say someone just all of a sudden comes out and he's standing out in the open. I'm not going to go like this in the middle of the gunfight out in the open, because all he has to do is just aim down and shoot at me, you know? And I'm going to be stuck laying down and he's going to be moving side to side, and who knows if I can aim like that. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that as well as I intended to, but the slide down is a cool technique and movement that I think that you could use to win some gunfights, and it just speeds up that standing to lying down movement. So moving on, I want to talk a little bit about the dive. And again, I know I talked about Omni movement with the dive, but one new thing in this game too is you can aim and shoot while sliding and diving. So we used to know the dive as something like this. We would dive and then we couldn't aim until we landed, and also shoot until we landed. But now you can aim and shoot while still flying. So I think diving is most useful in evading and kind of defensive plays, and maybe some navigation. And also diving off of a point of height will send you flying. So as an example, I'm going to jump off this top step once, and then next I'm going to slide, and we'll see what places I end up at. So I'm going to go ahead and dive. And as you can see, I'm almost touching this wall. I'm going to go ahead and stand up. Yeah, let's say I'm going to look down and ping this. And then now I'm going to go and do the same thing, but slide when I'm at the top of the step. And as you can see, I'm a decent distance away. I actually can't even peek the angle all the way. So it's not always the most useful, but I would say when jumping out of places of height, instead of just mantling this and ending up having to fall at the bottom of the thing and then moving on, you could just go ahead and dive out. And you see how much that launches me out? And yes, you'll have a moment that you have to stand back up and get moving again. But once you get the hang of it, you don't even notice those moments. So it'll look just like this. And then you just get back up and keep going. And one thing that's cool about diving is as soon as you touch something, it will make you stand back up. So as you can see, when I just hit that, I didn't have to hit space. I didn't do anything. It just auto made me stand up. So I'm standing into... So I'm essentially diving, and immediately I'm standing, which this is quite useful, because if chain, you can do that and then immediately be kind of wobbling and head glitching. So like, let's say instead of diving all the way past it, laying down, and then having to stand all the way up, you can kind of chain these moments when you just nick something, you just nick an object, and it makes you stand up. Like, see how I'm bouncing off of these things? Instead of going all the way past it. It is quite a timing movement mechanic and a little advanced, but I think once you get the hang of it, it just blends in with all of the movement. So yeah, I just thought I'd make note of that. I do use this most of the time when I'm diving. Sometimes I'll, dive past something and jump like this. And if someone saw me do that and they saw me dive down into this, they might think I'm still laying down. Like, as I'm saying, I dive and I'm still laying down, and they might just think I'm an easy kill. I'm laying down, they'll come by and blast me, but no, I'm moving. I'm going to slide and just outplay them. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I think diving is also useful in evasive and kind of defensive plays. Let's say a nade, like a Semtex, hits all of a sudden and you need to get out. You can dive down and, they might not expect you just laying low. Same with sliding. Sliding back to get out of a place is really good. Instead of doing a 180 and seeing if you can get away, you can just go ahead, slide down, and still be facing them. You don't have to take sights off of the enemy. And then same with diving. You can go a little something like this. I think you should only dive in offense in CQB, in close combat. Like, this is a common spot that people will just blindly kind of beeline it by. And if you want to dive and catch someone lacking like this, that's totally cool, because they might not have the time to flick onto you. So I think diving in well-known paths like that is cool. Also, off height is always fun. Someone coming this way might expect you to be on this. They might expect you to be on that, but they would not expect you to just be fucking launching out of this. And you can be hitting shots while you do that too. So it's quite a good outplay ability, but I'd say it's quite an advanced movement. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, again, it just feels fluid and smooth. So we've talked about a lot of the essentials, the slide cancel, the slide down, the, you know, how to dive and when it's good to dive. And the question now is, how do you combine all of these? How do you let all of these blend into one kind of fluid gameplay movement? And that is on you. That is up to you. It's up to you to decide how you want to use it and the play style that you want to be. Do you want to just be someone who plays like omni movement doesn't exist? Because you don't need to use it. You don't have to slide. You don't have to dive. You don't have to do any of that. You can disable those if you want, and you can just, you know, play a little tactically. But someone like me, I love this movement. I think it's so fluid and fun. And I hope what I was saying made sense and you can take something away from this video. I know I was kind of blabbing and yapping about all types of stuff, but hopefully something landed. And if it did, please leave a like and comment down below, you know, what you'd like to see next. And I'm going to go ahead and showcase some settings that I think could be useful in helping do these movements, and also my unique keybinds and all of that stuff, because I've been getting a lot of comments about what settings do I use and all of that jazz. So, and one last thing, I love you guys. You guys have been showing so much love on the BO6 videos, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. I've got a lot of content planned, so I just appreciate all of the love I've been shown. You know, I wouldn't be doing any of this without you guys. You guys make me who I am. Without you, I'm just a guy, but you know, you guys take my shit to the next level. So anyway, I'm gonna quit yapping, show some settings, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy. See you guys later.